You know, Commissioner, I've been a political watcher in the country for some time, and I'm just curious, you know, if something like this happened in a PDP state, let's say River State, for example, what would the APC say about this? Because I'm wondering if we talk about political intolerance and we talk about, you know, some of these issues, if there's an investigation conducted and it turns out that indeed there was not a 21 days notice before this building was pulled down, and we can see clearly that the El Rufai administration contravened the law in doing what it did, would there not be serious grounds for the party to look at this and say, look, there's a need to rein in this governor and instill some discipline in the party?
Well, that has to be determined. I told you that due diligence was observed. I cannot recall the date, the number of days, but we are good to go and we can stand before anybody or before any inquiry that we have observed due diligence.
You can remember the date, you can't state specifically the laws, you have not shown us any documents, yet you say that you can tell and convince the Nigerian people that this is not political.
It's not.
Wait, are there any plans afoot to establish gardens around Kaduna? Can you talk a little bit about that, if that's what you're saying this is about?
Yeah. In every district, there are a robust plan to make sure that we recreate, you know, facilities for recreation, because part of the problem we have been observing the Boko Haram is lack of engagement of our youth in sporting activities, and it is hoped that such will be done. The stadia are being renovated across the state, and also the reforms generally cuts across. Recently we have been rated B plus rating in terms of our financial management, and a lot of things are happening in Kaduna under the able leadership of Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, and that is what we are going ahead with.
How do you envisage that this will impact the ability of the people of Kaduna State to be represented in the National Assembly, when you talk about the relationship that's now developed between the governor and the legislators?
Well, we hope reasons will prevail at all times. We are partners in serving the people, and whatever will bring benefit to the generality of the people will not be compromised because of these issues that are between them and also those in government today. If they have violated some certain rules, they know. If they have not met some certain criteria for what is happening today in the country, they know. So it is best that they also seek reform within themselves, and before it is too late, because reform is not just for us in government in Kaduna, it is also expected that they should be part and parcel of whatever effort the state government is doing in bringing development as far as the government of Kaduna State is concerned.
When the former minister Inuwa Abdul Kadir's house was brought down, was a garden established where that property was brought down?
Well, I'm sure there are alternative uses for the place. We haven't gotten to that yet.
So how do you see this matter? Because whether or not you like it, this is going to definitely have political consequences. Ajuri has talked about political backlash possibly in the Senate, and you know, maybe even it affecting President Buhari. But then there's also the reconciliation. Is it that the governor is saying that, you know, there is no way we're going to ever be able to reconcile the different factions of the APC in his state?
But we cannot talk about reconciliation, you know, and then jettison the issue of governance. I had reiterated at this very sitting that because we are in government today, we should not just be concentrating on politics alone. I
agree with you. I'm just saying, I'm simply saying, of course, if something is wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right. But I'm saying that even while we're doing, even if we're trying to implement a law, assuming this is a part of your law, the chances are high that you also have to implement it with a human face. In this instance, I'm sure the people involved will say that this has been done very maliciously, considering the time it was done and considering the fact that you're not been able to give us any time frames. So would you say that this kind of action will bring together, can help in any reconciliation efforts, even internal reconciliation efforts within Kaduna State?
Why not? If they believe that we are doing our job and they think what we have done is right, we can embrace ourselves again and then move on as friends in the party.
Okay. Well, we'll take a moment now. We'll take another break, and when we come back, Sunrise Today will continue. Please stay with us.
2017, a notice was put forth, or rather 2016, talking about the Kaduna Internal Revenue Service and how much they're going to charge for buildings. And that's assuming that the land rent is the same thing as the land use charge, unless Kaduna State government has changed that. But based on the information on your website, the highest amount any residential area is supposed to pay is 10,000 naira. So if the senator was owing 10 years, or from 2010 till date, and it's supposed to be yearly, that's 80,000 naira. But if it is supposed to be monthly, that should be about 1.2 or thereabout, 1.2 or 120,000 naira times 8 years. But tell us, is that enough to demolish that building?
Well, thank you very much for bringing this up. But if you look at the notice, it's a notice pursuant to our revenue drive, which we published last year. It is only to be aware of attracting people to register for their their properties, because we discovered as a government that most houses in Kaduna are not registered. So we thought as a government we should bring it to bottom line rate, something that will make it attractive so that we will end up with the necessary data going forward. So it was a deliberate move by the government to capture or to make sure that we attract property owners to come forward to register their properties first. Then we would, after 2-3 years, when we'll have seen the data generated from such move, actually now review the rate upward.
So how much was the senator supposed to pay for his residence? Based on this notice, 10,000?
It has no retroactive effect. It has retroactive effect. It has no retroactive effect because the 10,000 is just for fresh occupants of houses and also to regularize. But whatever may have accrued in the past, you must settle, because that is government.
How much
that is
was the senator to pay?
Kaduna State operates.
Was he supposed to pay the 10,000 naira?
Kaduna State operates an accrual policy. It is captured in our books that those are liabilities, and these liabilities must be settled. However, for unregistered properties, we have said, okay, the bill that the publication you displayed, we have said, okay, let's bring this property to a rock bottom price land use charge.
Okay,
which
Honorable
will
Commissioner, if I may come in here,
property.
Were the properties of the Senator Hunkui, were they registered?
They were registered, of course. And
okay.
It had
so how much?
And it was being,
how much is a residential building supposed to pay for land use in Kaduna?
It depends on the location before this government came in. But what we have done as a government is to break it down depending on the location, Zaria, Kaduna, and Kafanchan.
So how much was he owing?
Areas.
How much was he owing in total?
8 years. What is owing should be provided.
You can't tell us.
I can't tell you now.
Well, you can tell us. Yes. Well, also just quickly, Senator Hunkui did say that they did mobilize for the governor of Kaduna State, Governor El Rufai, from that particular building. So for many years, it actually served as some sort of building for the APC in Kaduna State.
No, that is not true.
You're not aware of the fact that there was any mobilization?
Governor El Rufai's campaign headquarters still stands on Isa Kaita Road.
So there was no mobilization done for Governor
Not at all,
El
not that I know.
Okay. Oh, well, we have to thank you most kindly for coming on Sunrise City. Suleiman Abdukwari is the Commissioner for Finance in Kaduna State. He has been a former chairman of Sabongeri local government area and also a former member of the House of Representatives.